Hello, my lovely art nerds! It is that time of year again. It is Inktober. Not quite. It is September 29th, and Inktober runs from the 1st of October into the 31st. If you don't know what it is, there's a lot of information online, which I will link down below. Basically, it was originally created by Jake Parker, and it is a challenge where you do an illustration every day for the month of October using ink. And I've participated a couple of times before, and I've only ever completed it once, I think. I think I've tried it 3 additional times. In any case, I have always basically set myself up for failure, either wanting to do like full-size 9x12 pieces or like getting really in my head about materials. And you really just need ink. Like, I now, at this stage in my life, have really nice Winsor & Newton inks that I got as a set last year for Inktober that I wound up not getting a whole lot of use out of because I psyched myself up and thought, hey, I'm gonna make huge, awesome illustration every single day. And maybe you can do that if you don't have a full-time job or you don't have like family or responsibilities, like people that want you to be seen every once in a while. Like, I don't want to hide in my office for all of October. Really, all you need is one of these. You need a Bic or any kind of pen. This is ink. This is a thing. This is what you can use. And I personally love sketching with pens, so that's not necessarily new to me. I usually sketch in pen in my sketchbooks. I like the contrast better than just pale pencils. I do normally do some under sketches though with color erase. So these are my two that get used most often. I bet you can't tell based on the fact that there's no eraser on them anymore and that they're like little nubbies. This is Carmine Red and Indigo Blue. And I may use some other color erase pencils during the month, but these are the two that I gravitate the most toward. So I figured I would put these together. Basically what I'm just doing today is giving you an idea of my supplies for this coming Inktober, and just to reinforce the idea that you don't actually need any of these. You really, really don't. It's nice to have them, it's nice to play with them, but you don't need them. You can literally do the entire month with one of these. The other thing that I have gotten in my head about in the past, I'm like psyched myself out about, aside from materials, is wanting to have a cohesive set of illustrations at the end of the month. And that's nice, again, if you have lots of time on your hands. If you are a student and you have assignments, this is not the time for perfection. If you have a full-time or part-time job that takes up a significant amount of your time, whether it's commuting or, you know, stuff that you have to bring home to do, any of that, when you use pencils, you can erase them over and over and over again. And that helps you stay in this mindset of, oh my God, it's not perfect enough. Let me redo it. Let me, you know, try another layer. Let me try and do this again and make it better than the previous time. And sometimes that works. Sometimes you can identify exactly what it is that's going wrong and you can fix that wonky eye or that weird ass hand. Other times you are exercising this need for perfection when it's not beneficial to you. There are definitely times when you want an illustration to turn out a particular way. If you have an illustration that you really, really want to do and it doesn't turn out the first time, that's what pencils are for. That's what pens are for. That's what paper is for. You don't have to get it right on the first time. You can do it over and over and over again. That's the beauty of art, is that it's not just this magical thing that happens to work for you once in a while. There's a difference between like a muse and motivation and actual just genuine creativity. Having come up with an idea and being really excited about it and then screwing it up doesn't lessen or like cheapen the ideal. It just means that you have room to grow and you can revisit this same topic, the same illustration now or 3 years from now. These are kind of not your friend. Pencils are great. I love pencils, but this is the time of year to get over that mentality where you can fix everything a million times. This is the time of year for pens. If you've ever done Inktober before, you know what I'm talking about, because if you screw it up, then you have to start over or you have to learn to live with your mistakes. If you decide that you want to start over, you can be slightly more careful, but at the end of the day, you're still eventually going to have to settle on a product or settle on an illustration. Not that you're necessarily trying to sell them, but various people have their own preferences and methods of doing Inktober. Really, it just you use some ink. You can use Bic pens, you can use microns, you can use like actual Higgins India ink, or you can use pretty colored inks from like Winsor & Newton or some other brand. But basically your goal is to make art a medium that you may or may not be comfortable with, that forces you to compromise perfection for doing a thing, and drawing every day. You don't have to post what you're making every day to social media, but I highly recommend it. It is so much easier. Even if you like say, hey, I got really sick this day, this is what I was able to get done. It's like a half-assed illustration. You learn from your art mistakes. You don't learn anything by spending 10 hours on one pencil illustration. You learn more by making 10 ink illustrations in a couple of hours. What makes you an artist is that you are trying to make an idea in your head be a thing on paper or on canvas or digitally. You are taking a thing from your brain and taking all of the resources and knowledge that you have in your past and all of the things that you've made, good or bad, and you're improving on them. You're making more stuff. You're only going to get better by making more stuff. Inktober allows you to get over yourself and just like push through it. Also, my lighting is changing. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. I don't know what that lighting looks like, but I'm gonna guess it's really bad. Sorry. It's also that time of year when the lighting is crap. Welcome to fall. You should draw every single day in October, or nearly every single day in October. If you want, post it online, even if it's terrible. Honestly, a lot of the drawings on my Instagram are so cringy. And I like occasionally think about looking back and taking them down, and then I'm like, no, you know, the difference between illustrations I made a year ago to the illustrations I make now is just monumental difference. And some of that is medium, some of that is spending more time with things like ink or watercolor or whatever. But a lot of it is making mistakes, acknowledging that I've made a mistake, and then continuing to work forward and fix it. And also to just make some pretty cool stuff. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. I always like to do character-driven things, although in the last year I've been adding more backgrounds to my work. However, all of those things being said, last year I tried to do 9x12 illustrations. That is not feasible. That is not a thing that I can do all of the time. So my plan this year is to do much smaller illustrations. Once I set aside and have chosen the kinds of theme that I want to develop this year, I'm going to pick a paper size, but I'm thinking that actually the paper that this is on right now, I'm thinking that I'm either going to do like a 5x7 or even half that. I'm going to give myself the room to grow there. And if I come up with some really cool idea in the middle of the month that I want to make a bigger illustration of, like, hell yeah, I'm gonna make a bigger illustration. But I want to set my standards really low this year so that there's like zero pressure, because I think it's a very worthwhile challenge. I love monthly challenges, and this is an important one to me. It marks what originally was the beginning of my art Instagram. Honestly, Inktober was like one of the fundamental moments of me deciding to share art with the internet someplace other than DeviantArt. There's like an instant gratification to the community around Inktober, especially on Instagram, because you will see that hashtag popping up over and over again. People are really creative, and one of my favorite things that I have seen in the past, a couple of different artists last year and the years before have chosen like one kind of color pencil and done one color with all of their illustrations in black for the rest of the illustrations. Like they all kind of had a cohesive theme because it was one color. It was a soft color pencil and black. I really like that aesthetic. But again, I'm hoping to push myself to do the actual just illustrations in 31 days. Like, I'm hoping to just have 31 illustrations that I don't hate. Is that a good goal? 31 things that I don't hate for the month of October. Probably shouldn't call the challenge that. Just gonna say. But I'm giving myself a lot of options. Again, paper size, I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of wing it. But they're not gonna be this. I'm giving myself like, I'm not doing anything this size because that's a lot. I have a variety of microns here. I have a graphic one and a brush one, which I don't really intend to use, but I really like these microns. I will probably use them for some detail work. I'm not really sure, again, since I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing. I have this really, really cool glass dip pen, which is incredibly impractical, but very pretty. They've got like kind of glitter bubbles in them because that's relevant to making art. I mean, it's inspiring. I feel like a little magician, which is appropriate for all the witches that I make. I have just a couple of brushes here that I will be using. And also if I have to cover like a large space of area, it doesn't make sense to try and do it with a dip pen. So I have these 2 dip pens. And I've got like 6 more nibs. I realized that it is September the 29th, and this will probably be posted on the 30th, so it doesn't give you a lot of time. But you can get a set of these 2 dip pens with like 6 different nibs on Amazon or Michael's or like Hobby Lobby for like $8, sometimes a little bit less. But it's 2 different handles and 6 different nibs. And I have found these to be super helpful. I actually really like using dip pens, and that is because of past Octobers and past Inktobers. This is like a medium that's sort of inconvenient, and it's a thing that, I don't know, I don't normally gravitate towards, but whenever I come back to it, I'm like, God, that's so comfortable. Like, I really, really like using these. I would definitely like to improve my skill with like hatching and textures and things, but I'm really happy to have these in my arsenal, and I have them because of Inktober. Again, to go back to the fact that your illustrations for the month do not have to be cohesive. If this is your first Inktober and you don't really know what to expect or what you want to be doing, I would actually recommend doing more experimentation. Don't, like, specifically choose not to make all of your illustrations look the same. Try doing some with dip pens. Try doing some with Bic pens or microns or brushes and colored ink, something. Start the month with the supply that you already have. See what's working for you and what isn't. Do you get 2 or 3 illustrations in and say, wow, I really wish I had this crazy green color. I'm gonna order one of these. A couple days later into October, oh look, I have one. Use this as an opportunity to challenge yourself. If you already use ink a lot or are very familiar with it, just like enjoy the ride, have fun with prompts, just do something every day. I think that's probably the more important part of the challenge is you're trying to create something new every day, and it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be awesome, but you're making a thing. I feel like I could just keep going on, but I don't know what the point would be. I think that I've covered all of the things that I want to cover, which is like vary your mediums, don't be afraid to fuck up, give yourself like realistic expectations, because filling an entire sheet and doing a full size illustration is not a thing that's gonna happen for you every single day. It's just not. It's not a thing unless you are a professional artist and this is your job. Like, if you are a good enough artist to know how your methods of getting a full illustration each day, how you manage to do that, probably not watching this, which is specifically like, hey, you should try Inktober. Also, here are some materials that I'm going to be using, because that's basically what this is. This is like a pep talk for Inktober. Like, I really was just intending to talk about my materials, but there's reasons why I chose these materials this year. So these are actually the colors of these Winsor & Newton inks. Just like, it's what they look like on some paper. I really like them. I have not used them very much, but I hope that you are going to join in this year for Inktober. I hope that you're excited about it, and I hope that you are not intimidated to just grab a Bic pen and start rolling, especially because with these, you don't need special paper. Like, you can literally get a package of pens, like regular Bic pens, kind of terrible but acceptable sketchbook from a Family Dollar or a Dollar Tree or Dollar General for like under $3. And you might decide that you like this and want to do more in the month. There is nothing preventing you from going and getting these things right now if you didn't already have them. And if you don't have any pens in your house, like, I'm questioning if you're a robot or a human, because like, who doesn't own a flippin' pen? The other thing is that you don't even need to have a sketchbook to do this. You could do them on like regular printer paper. You don't need to make full color amazing ink illustrations for this month. You just have to make something. So go do that. If you have participated in Inktober before, let me know down below if you have any like tips and tricks for like me or anyone else. It's a harsh time of year in terms of challenging yourself. It's somewhat intimidating, I think. It's even still intimidating for me, and I've done this quite a few times. Of course, I keep screwing it up, which is also partly why it's intimidating. But I'm gonna get through it this year. I think I've successfully lowered my expectations, and I've got all of my stuff out. I don't have it like packed up somewhere where I'm gonna have to take it in and out every day. Like, no, I've got my cups set up. Everything is ready for the month. I've got it all under control. It's not going anywhere. It's gonna be sitting right here on my desk. So it's always here if I need to grab some. Again, an important thing. I do have the like luxury and privilege of having my own art desk and space. That was a priority that I had as an adult that I wanted to have. I did not have that luxury when I was younger, so I really do appreciate just using a Bic pen and some printer paper because that's what I was rolling with. And it's totally doable. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Yeah, if you have any prompts that you are planning on using or prompt lists that you found on like Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, send them my way in case some of them are interesting. I might not use them for this month, but I might use them for change of like camera angle and also sound quality because my camera died. And by died, it said that I was talking too long and that it ran out of space, which is a thing it hasn't done in a very long time. Probably because I never clear it out. So just closing this here video out. These again are my stuff for the month. I hope you join in. I hope you love it. I hope you enjoy getting to know some ink products and making some cool shit. So best wishes. Go make something, my lovely art nerds. Goodbye.